Hey guys, welcome back to the Game Replay. I'm Dave the Usher. The game I'm playing is LSD for the Sony PlayStation, and this game is brought to you by GameAnyone.com, your number one source for video game walkthroughs. That's right, here we are on LSD again. It's day 19. We're about to start, but first, everyone say hello to REDKLOK. REDKLOK, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
It's great having you here. First of all, REDKLOK, you are the person who inspired me to start walkthroughs, and it's great having you here to help commentate on LSD, something you're kind of familiar with in your past.
Yes, I have tried it.
And for those of you who do not know REDKLOK, really, he's a rock and roll dude, but he's one of the most chilled, relaxed, nicest guys ever. And he's great, good walkthrougher, good stuff. Glad to have him on here. I'm going to start my next stream here, which is day 19, even though I don't know why you'd call it day. Should be night 19, I would say, because you're dreaming. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make any sense.
Or you shouldn't do LSD during the day.
You shouldn't do LSD during the day?
Well, it depends if you're at a concert or whatever, but to actually interact with people during the day is kind of not good.
Why? For those of you who don't know, REDKLOK, like I said, he's a rocker. He's a crazy dude, and he's experimented with some drugs in his past, I will say. But REDKLOK, why don't you tell us, especially for those of us who have not experienced a lot of drugs in our lifetime, or at least LSD. Why don't you just tell us a little bit more about the drug itself? Like you were saying, not to use it during the daytime. Why exactly is that?
Actually, it depends. You want to use it in a proper environment. Say like a rock concert. You can do it during the day at a rock concert, but you don't want to do it if you have to go to work or go to school or anything like that. Not a good idea.
Why would you say that? Not a good idea.
It changes your perception of reality.
And what, you just start kind of like freaking out maybe at people, or?
It depends how good it is. It depends on how much you take, and it depends on who you're around, who you're with.
Shit.
Each time you do it, it's different.
Really?
Yeah, it's not the same effect.
Maybe that's kind of why it's kind of similar to this game. Every dream is, I wouldn't say totally different, but slightly different. Each of these dreams are just a little bit off and different from one another, and you just experience different types of things. Although, after you checked out the video game LSD yourself, I'm not sure how would you relate that to LSD yourself.
Well, it's a bit abstract, I'd say, and sometimes, abstract things can happen.
Yeah, like right now, I'm heading down this tunnel. Doesn't really make a lot of sense. Now, but REDKLOK, in your life, do you have any, like, really crazy LSD stories for yourself? Like, really just, one day I went to this concert, I did this, I did that. Like, do you have any, like, actual stories? Maybe shit happened, things went good, you experienced good stuff, you experienced bad stuff, you got maybe kind of in trouble for what you were doing, your actions, anything like that?
Well, for starters, I never really like to go to like a place with a lot of people if I'm doing it, because you never know what's going to happen. Because you don't want to run into the wrong person while you're on it, because you don't know what's going to happen, what your reaction's going to be. It changes who you are pretty much at the time. But yeah, I have some crazy stories. Well, actually one crazy story, because I ended up taking way too much than what I should have.
All right, let's hear this.
Well, I used to hang out with this kid, and he was a drug dealer by the time he was like 14, and I was about, how old was I? 19 at the time, and he kept feeding it to me. Like, I took a couple hits, and this was probably like my second or third time doing it.
Oh, man.
So, he gave me 2, and it kind of messed up my judgment on what I should do, so I pretty much accepted more hits from him. And I think I eventually took maybe between 10 or 40, I can't remember.
Jesus Christ.
Like,
I don't really know if that's a lot, but it sounds like a lot.
Yeah, I'm surprised I'm actually able to think normally, or if you would call that normal today. I had like a religious experience almost, what you'd say.
Really? Would you be able to like share that with us?
I swear at the time that I was an alien from another planet that was here for a holy quest.
What was the holy quest about?
I don't know, to enlighten people and tell them that everything's gonna be all right.
And so, like, how did that unfold, or what went down when this was all going on?
Well, that part switched from that to where I thought I was in a commercial or a television show, and the way that I was thinking was, you're in another dimension when you're on a television show, and whenever the show is finished, the characters are free to do whatever they want. They can like wreck cars into trees and stuff like that. And my friend had to take the keys from me because I wanted to wreck a car into a tree because I believed I was invincible.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, and then at the time I was so nervous that I kept biting my fingernails and I ended up drawing blood. Like,
oh shit. I've kind of heard of that before.
Yeah, I probably told you that from the past.
I've heard that happening to people sometimes, that they like just fuck up their fingers or just do shit.
You do stuff repeatedly, maybe like scratch yourself over and over again, you could end up drawing blood. But yeah, my fingers were so badly cut or bitten up from biting my nails that I was going to college at the time, and I had to go to school the next day, and I had to keep my fists clenched because I had to take a test. And then the professor was like, okay, now we're going to go upstairs into this. It was for art. It was an intro to art course. Mm-hmm. And he's like, we're going to go upstairs now and examine this and that. And I was like, oh shit. So I actually had to get up and like function with people, So I had to like keep my fist clenched and not shake anybody's hands because I had these bloody fingers,
And by then the effects were worn off? Or
not totally.
Not totally?
It was like a psychotic episode almost. Like the professor was shrinking and growing still.
That's nuts. And wait, how long does usually LSD kind of take an effect, or is it just about the dosage you take, or does it wear off?
I used to take it a lot when I was younger, and I think the average is like 8 hours.
8 hours?
Yeah.
But with all the shit you did that one time, was it like any more, or was it just kind of the same?
I had flashbacks for like maybe a couple years after that time because it was a lot. Like I wouldn't like get confused, just things would like move or something, like swish, and my face, like if I stared at it in the mirror, like it'd start growing hair.
Well, I mean, right now I'm looking at a bunch of pink buildings, and I think these are swimming pools, and they're blinking. Is that like anywhere near anything that sounds familiar to you?
Yeah, like I used to see psychedelic art from the 60s and think it was a bunch of bullshit.
Really?
And then once you actually try acid, you're like, yeah, I understand that now. Because that's what things look like whenever you're actually on acid from the 60s.
But so that one story about you and like the fingernails and the
that's just part of it.
That's just part of it. What else went down?
Sorry about that. Let's see. Another bad thing that happened, which I don't want to say is bad, but okay, there's this gay guy that hangs out with. They call him Gay Bob because he's the only gay guy that hangs out with a group of straight people. Like they're all rednecks out in this place.
Oh yeah.
And it's the only, like, he'll hang out with straight people. He just has sex with guys. That's it. But he actually would rather have the company of straight people.
Yeah.
Anyway, he has this tendency when he's drunk to hit on new men that he meets. And we went to this party out in the woods with these rednecks, and he tried hitting on me, and I like flipped out on him.
And this was while you were on LSD?
Yeah, and he got scared and like ran.
What did you like? Kind of like threaten him, or like kind of get a little crazy on him?
I guess I knocked over a couple people.
Really?
To get to. Yeah.
But like only because like you were on. I mean, you weren't really offended. Like really.
Yeah.
Kinda...
If a gay guy hit on me now, I'd just be like, dude, that's not my thing, and that's cool, whatever.
Yeah, but you're just kind of getting crazy because
Yeah. I'm like, what the hell's going on?
But you didn't injure him or like put your hands on him?
No, they stopped me.
That's crazy. But so wait, is that the last thing that happened that night, or?
Let me think. It's kind of a fuzzy memory.
Yeah, probably.
My brain was pretty fried at the time.
I'm about to venture inside a castle.
Inside of a castle? Your house changes whenever, like, your house can become like a castle, I suppose.
Oh,
like
yeah?
the rooms might be bigger or they might be smaller. like my house, like I had a tiny apartment for the longest time, and it got so big whenever I took LSD inside of it.
Like the rooms just expanded beyond belief.
Everything expanded, and then sometimes we would go out to this field by my house that I used to live at, and it was a hill, and we'd lay on top of it and look at the sky and the stars, and like lay down in the field, and it felt like you're hanging off the ledge of the earth, like the edge of the earth.
Yeah.
You'd see into outer space. It's pretty awesome.
That actually kind of sounds awesome. I don't know.
Yeah. If anybody, I just want to warn anyone, if they ever try LSD, make sure there was someone that's experienced, that they can trust, that knows what's going to happen.
Someone who can restrain you?
Yeah,
probably.
Restrain you or help you or guide you. It's something you shouldn't just try out of the blue and not be ready for.
Yeah.
There can be some dangerous consequences.
What, like, what dangers and consequences, like, do you have in mind?
Like I said, like I almost drove a car into a tree.
You almost drove a car into a tree.
Yeah, like I said, I thought I was invincible.
Yeah, that's right.
Because I was on too much. The average person only takes about 1 or 2 hits at a time, and that's usually just all you do during that period is giggle and laugh at things. Pretty much like if you smoked marijuana.
Yeah. Except you like hallucinate more, I suppose.
Yeah, you hallucinate a little bit more. But then after getting experience with it, I tend to be able to realize that I was hallucinating and not have the same effect, like as strong as an effect as it would. So, like, whenever I'd hallucinate, I'd automatically knew that it was a hallucination, so it really didn't affect me like how it used to. So I pretty much got bored with it. So
it kind of like that's what happens, right? The brain gets used to it, right?
I wouldn't say the brain. It's just your willpower, and, like, you're able to understand it more.
Just kind of what's the word? The tolerance, I suppose, or something like that, right?
It's not really, I wouldn't call it a chemical tolerance. Maybe if you did it for like a bunch of times in a week, maybe there'd be a chemical tolerance. But let's just say that you can predict what's going to happen next. Like when you're going to peak. And the peaking's whenever it's at its strongest.
Right now in the video game REDKLOK, there's a guy called Shadow Man, which you really like. They call him the Shadow Man or Gray Man, and he's kind of like in a trench coat with a black hat. And you want to avoid this dude because if he gets near you, he kind of screws up your dreams.
Yeah, I can see. I can
relate to that in any way.
Yeah, because I've had a couple bad trips as well.
What if you want to talk about any of the bad trips?
Pretty much, I realized that I disappointed both my parents and they hated me, and all of a sudden hands grabbed me and tried to drag me down to hell.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And I felt like all this pain and tearing at me and stuff and whatnot.
What do you think causes like a bad experience or a good experience? Is it all about like the mindset before you start? Like if you're in a good mood or a bad mood?
I believe so. Like, I watched a documentary about hippies, and they, for the longest time, believed that only good people have good trips and only bad people have bad trips. Yeah. But you could have a guilty. I think it has something to do with you if you have a guilty conscience about something. And even though you've done nothing wrong, if you just happen to be a person that feels guilty for no reason, you could possibly have a bad trip.
I mean, I don't really know much about the facts of any of that stuff, but like it can be kind of said, I think, for like any kind of drug or altering your your head for a while, like alcohol or anything really. Like you could be a good drunk, you can be a bad drunk, good highs, bad highs, that kind of thing.
And what I say could be totally different from what anybody else has experienced too. So, like what I say could be total bullshit to somebody else about my experiences, because they could have done it and be like, that's nothing like what I've done. So
see, right now I would call this a bad trip because I'm entering this kind of like pinkish tube world, and I think it can maybe relate somewhat to you being taken down to hell, I believe you were saying. Now, were you actually like in hell? Like,
I was being engulfed by flames. And I didn't actually get up and move. I was like, my friend checked on me, and I was just laying there, like comatose almost.
That's messed up.
Yeah.
That is a bad time. I think I'm stuck in hell right now. I'm descending. I'm moving down into like these long hallways, and I see these red colors in the distance, and now I'm lost. I don't know how to find my way around here. This is just crazy, man. So wait, REDKLOK, any more like good or bad tripping like type experience stories that you got?
Well, hooked up with a girl when I was tripping once.
How does that work out for you?
It's good icebreaker if you're both on it, because then you're more open-minded to what the other person has to say, and you understand each other easier.
Oh, I bet.
So you just like, but I never actually had sex on LSD. I don't know if that'd be too weird or what. That might be too creepy.
But like, have you ever had any like actual encounters, like almost getting like in trouble with the law over this stuff? Or it seems like to me so far, at least, that you've been kind of really cautious or used this in a secure area, I guess you could say, except maybe the rock concerts.
I'm lucky that one time whenever I did a lot of it, like whenever I did too much, that we didn't get caught by law. We were kind of out in the boonies, like out in the middle of nowhere.
Me and REDKLOK, for those of you who don't know, both live in the same state, Pennsylvania, right, REDKLOK? I'm on the east side, you are on the west side.
Yep.
So we got some forests around. We got the trees, man. But go on.
But most of the time, well, the one time I was a little bit cautious because we did see a cop car whenever we were out in the woods in that field. And like it's a field inside the woods, and my friend's like, he grew up in the city, so he's actually from around where you're from. Mm-hmm. He's from like out in Philly, but he's like, yeah, you know what these cops can do if they realize we're on something, they can just pretty much beat the shit out of us. And if they wanted to, they can even pull a gun on you because they can say that you attacked them, and there's no witnesses. So we said we better get the hell out of here, so we left.
And wait, where were you at the time? You were just
at my old apartment, there was a field, and
all right.
Yeah, there's some woods like right out, like a couple blocks away from my apartment. My apartment's like on the edge of town.
Yeah. Doing it in the woods. But does kind of like you seem to kind of like to be outside while under the
yeah,
the effects.
It depends.
Does kind of like nature like help provide like better scenarios for you?
Yeah, you like to adventure. It's like an adventure. Like you want to like go out and explore. Like, well, for example, my friend Tiger that you met.
Yeah.
We used to do a lot of acid together, and every time we do it, he want to play Super Nintendo or play Uno.
Why is that?
And I don't know. He just loved it. And what we'd do, we'd play Super Mario World, and I had a Game Genie. And we'd put it on so you had a star at all times, so we'd be invincible. We'd just like mow through the game. Just go through enemies, mow through enemies, and...
Invincible tripping Mario World time.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Then we had videotapes. I used to videotape shows and edit out the commercials and whatnot. We'd watch TV Funhouse. I don't know if you remember that show.
TV Funhouse.
And we watched Syphil and Ollie.
Yeah, I remember that thing.
Yeah, we watched that.
Like, tell us about some of the like what kind of entertainment, what kind of television shows like would kind of like feast your appetites, you know? Syphil and Ollie, and what else?
TV Funhouse, South Park, like early South Park where it was kind of brutal.
Ah, yeah.
Like we saw the part where Scuzzlebutt, remember him from South Park?
Yeah.
Well, you know the part where Stan shoots him?
Yeah, I remember that.
Shoots him right in the head, and it's very graphic. Well, we thought that was so funny at the time, for some reason, that we kept rewinding it, watching it over and over again, laughing right where he shot him in the head.
Yeah.
And plus, I got so good at, like, whenever I took the LSD, I'd kind of fuck with people that weren't so experienced with it, which isn't a very good idea, by the way. Me and my friend Mike... my friend Mike's like this big dude. He's like 6'7".
Yeah.
And like there's this other guy, he's this little tiny dude, and we were in a room and we're talking about Tiger was there too, but Tiger was in the other room. Mm-hmm. And we're like, oh dude, we should totally kill Tiger. And he's like, yeah, I agree. And like we started talking about how we're gonna kill him, like we're just joking around, and dude like sneaks past us, grabs the scissors off the dresser and slides them in the dresser. He thought we were serious.
And so what? It just started like freaking out?
Yeah.
Oh, it's crazy. Yeah, you don't fuck with someone
Yeah,
under
that's
that
not a
state,
good idea.
right?
Yeah, that's not a good idea. Because what if he chose, instead of using the scissors, like hiding the scissors, he decided to think that we were a threat and decided to attack us instead, you know?
Oh man, that is crazy. But other than that, does anything like really big come to your mind, or?
It changes who you are, I think.
Like
It
overall,
makes you-
like, or just
it
during?
depends. It depends. I think I was already open-minded, but I think it made me more open-minded.
Like
more open to
overall as a
things.
person?
Yeah, and more open to other people, other cultures, stuff like that. Works able to accept more things, you know.
Yeah. But other than that, is that pretty much like your thoughts and your biggest stories?
Pretty much. I mean, it might be different for, like I said, people have different chemistry in their brain, you know.
Yeah.
So it might be totally different. Like somebody could be listening to this that experienced as much as I did, and they'd be like, "That guy's talking a bunch of bullshit," you know. He doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. That's nothing like how it feels for me, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they sound good to me. I mean, pretty crazy shit. I mean, you know, lots of people take certain drugs and different.
It's exhausting though. That's why I don't do it anymore.
Oh, yeah?
Because you can't sleep when you do it at nighttime. You can't sleep, and you're so exhausted the next day, and you have trouble sleeping.
And when was the last time you actually did LSD?
Jeez. Somebody actually tried. He told me it was something else, and it was back in 2003. And I told him I was done, and he told me it was a upper. It was like a caffeine pill, but it was something that had something in it. It was a gel capsule, and he said the guy there like poured this stuff in this pill, and I took it, and I started tripping. I'm like, man, did you just slip me some kind of psychedelic? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, you dick.
Oh wow! And that was the last time.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty much done. I experienced pretty much all I think I need to.
You have like just no desire to kind of go back and try it again. Like you never really got any kind of addiction to it or anything.
No, there's no actual addiction to it.
Is it for LSD, you would say? No?
No, it could be habit forming, like anything can be habit forming, like gambling or whatnot, but there's no actual chemical withdrawal from it.
All right, good stuff. And any other like final thoughts? Like one last kind of comment you have? And you really haven't used it in about like what has it been then? Like a little 10 years,
8
a little over than 10 years?
About 8 years.
8 years? Man, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
I just say just take it at your own risk, but be very careful because you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Just make sure you're in a safe environment, the safest as possible.
All right, well, REDKLOK, I want to thank you for being here. Like I said, REDKLOK was the guy who got me started with walkthroughing. It's great that we had him here for a part of LSD, which was very appropriate considering what REDKLOK's done in the past. But, you know, good stuff, REDKLOK. And I want to thank you for being here.
All right.
All right, good stuff. Well, guys, thanks for watching. I'm Dave the Usher for the Game Replay, and stay tuned for the next part of LSD. I'll see you guys next time. I am out.